What time is it? 2 minutes. 1 and 2, if we can shut the doors in the back, we got a lot to go over, you guys, and I want to be very respectful of your time. We have guests here. Do we have any guests outside of Keller Williams in the room today? Outside of KW? No. Anybody online? Hi, I see Beverly Johnson. Who's a guest outside of KW online? Can you raise your hand and say hello? Okay, yeah, hit your space bar. Hello, how are you, Victor? Hit your space bar to say hello. We're extremely grateful to have everybody, from within KW and all our guests outside. Just happy as admitting people as we start. All right, so today we're going to talk about a lot of things, right? Like we're all having the challenges on listings, how to get them, right? What are we saying to our people? Was that last class that we just had on the market stats, wasn't that very informative? Can you use those slides? I'm going to help teach you how to use some of those slides and integrate them into your listing presentation. But before we get started, because today's class is really about things that you should be integrating into your listing presentation to stand out and show your value, to show your clients your worth and why they should choose to pay you 6, 7, or 8% listing commission instead of the many clients that are trying to negotiate our commission right now, right? So I want to be able to show value as to why they're hiring you, the expert. But before we do that, let's talk around some of the things that you're doing today. How are you getting the listings? Like, let's mastermind around a few of the topics together so we can all share some things that I know that everybody's doing, because some people are doing some different things, and I want you to get the most value out of this. So if you could, please talk really loud for the people online. But who wants to start it off? What are something unique or that you're doing this year to go ahead and get clients? Did I see a hand up from Stephanie Fibo? But she's eating right now. So anybody want to start? Let's start with Sphere. Okay, that's always my #1 place where you should be starting. Who's doing something unique around their Sphere? Leslie Kunkel.
I don't know if it's unique, but once a quarter we're doing a drop by.
Okay.
Our top advocates.
All right.
Because we get a lot of referrals from our advocates.
So what does the drop by to your advocates look like?
Well, what we did this past quarter is we did little gifts that are table signs, love, faith, and hope. People love them, and we really decorate the bags really cute. So
I couldn't hear.
Okay, so she delivers bags with signs that say love, faith, and hope.
Yeah, there's individual.
Individual.
This quarter we're doing sunglasses with our logo.
Okay, very cool. And do you select, you have a certain group that goes to? Now, how do you distribute them? Like what days of the week? How many people do you hit?
Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Okay,
Actually, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Sorry about that. And we, I do 3 a week.
okay, very good. Very good. And are people home when you come by, or you just leave
Not
it?
necessarily.
Okay, very good. Anybody else? Stephanie, you had your hand up. What are you doing differently this year to stay in touch with your top people?
So we normally do big events, but because of COVID and everybody's concerned, we're doing small quarterly appreciation dinners. We're also doing reverse bold 100, and that's been fabulous.
Okay, so tell me about the small appreciation dinner.
So our first one was a few weeks ago. But we reserved the room at Nicolino's and just paid for dinner, and it was a cash bar so they could get their own drinks and stuff. But we just invited our current clients, past clients, and anybody who sent a referral.
Okay,
And we got a lot of referrals from the Burgers Bowl 100, so we invited all of those
very good.
people that sent a referral that quarter.
Okay, and then what was the second suggestion?
A reverse Bowl 100.
Okay.
We do that every quarter.
So a reverse bold 100, just for some of our outside guests, if bold is our sales training course that teaches us how to prospect and be very intentional. It's building a life by design. And normally you would do a bold 100 is where you would speak to and have a real estate conversation with 100 people in one day. And that's a lot of energy. Like you were on the phones, you were door knocking, you were talking to 100 people in a day. And it could take 12 hours sometimes. And a reverse bold 100 is where you have your clients call into a line, usually a Google Voice line. Is that right, Stephanie?
I don't do it that way.
Okay.
I do like individual.
So you give them a reason to call into you.
Yeah. So I give a prize. So like this Friday we're gonna do a bold 100. We're doing a small bakery egg. The last one we just did a dinner for 2 on Valentine's Day. I had a reservation booked, and it was a steak dinner. We got 27 referrals that day.
Awesome. All right, very good. Well, and I'm sure there's plenty of things, but I want to move this along. But one of the things that I feel like we should be doing differently this year is because who you know is the most important people that you need to be staying in touch with, because they're the people that know and like you. They're your sphere. You need to be putting them in your database and you need to be touching them consistently, but they need to be layered. So the first thing that you should be doing, whether it's talking to your sphere or even circle prospecting, which I'll get into secondly, is just layered marketing. Like every 3 to 4 marketing pieces, you do a mix of digital and print marketing, and it's followed up by a phone call or a personal contact. So just picking up the phone isn't as impactful. You need to hit people 3 or 4 times, right? I can tell you from the way that I communicate with people here, if I sent only an email, half this class would have been filled today, right? It's an email, it's a video, it's a text, it's putting it on the calendar. Like how many times do we need to be hit before something sinks in that it's something that we should be doing, right? So you have to treat your sphere the same way. And examples of this are maybe a targeted Facebook ad to your people, to your sphere, right? You know how you can do a Facebook ad either through command. If you're with KW, you can do it through command, or you do it on your own, where you only target your Facebook friends, right? And that could be a non-paid ad. You can do a paid ad or a non-paid ad. Then you write a personal note, either a card or a letter. You can draw the letter that with your logo and saying, hey, you know, we're looking for homes. What would you sell your house for today? If it made financial sense for you to sell your house today, what's that number? Call me and let's talk about it. It can be a simple letter about the market, the inventory, the lack of it, and where house prices are. Then you do the knock, knock, ding dong, ring, ring. Okay, that's what I call it. Knock, knock, ding dong, ring, ring. Once you do a Facebook ad or you send a letter or a handwritten note, postcard, you have to follow it up with contact, whether you knock on their door or you physically talk to them on the phone. That's where you're going to get the most response, because now you've hit them. So that has to follow. So you understand what I'm saying? Like a targeted ad, an email, a video, and then a phone call conversation. So you have to layer it. It really emphasizes what you're saying when you hit somebody over and over again. Does that make sense? Like how many times for those of us with children, don't we have to say something a million times before it sinks in, right? And some of us in coaching, you know, our coach says something that we've heard 15,000 times, that now he says it just plays differently. So sending those personal letters, and when I mean personal letters, I don't mean, you know, stamped with your name at Keller Williams, the address. Like personally write out their name, personally write out the return address, make it personal, make it a handwritten note, follow it up that way. That's the number one thing that we should be doing. The second area that we should really be following up on is circle marketing, circle prospecting, and layering it that way. So if you have a buyer and you know that they want to buy in Hamilton Mill, we all know how to get phone numbers from that neighborhood. But before you do that, you should have a targeted Facebook ad to Hamilton Mill with what your message is. How much would you sell your home for, realistically? Like if you do a Facebook ad, it should be communicative in style, because Facebook is a very communicative platform. So you put a Facebook ad that says, how much would you sell your house for? If you could sell your house for today, what's that number? Then so you target that in Hamilton Mill, then you send them the card, and then you call. I'm looking for buyers. I have buyers in this neighborhood, or how much would you sell for? We're looking for a buyer or a seller. It kind of eliminates stranger danger instead of just the phone. Like you're going to find more people are going to answer you or talk to you when they've already seen an ad and they've already seen a postcard or a letter. Does that make sense? Is anybody doing that right now? Is everybody doing the layered effect, or are you just saying, oh, I sent a postcard? You are layering. Yeah, that's what it's going to take to get it in today's market. Because let's be honest, it's the first time in real estate where we're at historical low inventory and we're competing with tech companies for listings. Like we're competing with Zillow, who's a brokerage, and they're also the largest real estate platform in the world. And people can go on Zillow and Zillow will pay their Zestimate for their house. But what message are you sending? What message are you telling your people? You know, what are some of the things that you guys are saying in these ads? Those of you that are doing it, what are some questions that you're asking them? Anybody want to share? Go ahead.
Do you know what's going on, what homes have sold for in the market? So I start with door knocking, talk to people, tell them about homes that have sold, and then follow up with a personal card.
Love it. Love it. One thing that we created door hangers. And so after we set the Facebook ad and after we sent the letter, then they door knocked with the, hey, I just sold your neighbor's house and I can sell yours too. Call me. Call us. Or we had 5 offers, only accepted 1, have 4 buyers looking for a home. Would you sell if the price was right? Like cater your message, consistent message, consistent if you're doing the Facebook ads and layering. Who's working, next thing that we should be doing is working with the notice of default list. Has anybody started notice of default? I know Jason talked about that today. Is anybody doing that yet? Okay, so it is a niche market where property owners are, are in forbearance. And we saw the stats earlier today, but they're 90 days or longer behind on their mortgage. And you should be sending out a letter and a phone call, but you can get all this information. There's websites, I think GeorgiaForeclosures.com, GeorgiaPublicNotice.com. You can go on GeorgiaPublicNotice.com and click the county that you want to focus on, and a list of names will come up of people that are 90 days or more behind. But one of the first letters that you need to send is letting them know that there are options. But one of the options is not to do anything, right? They need to take, we have options for them. Just because they're behind doesn't mean that they can't get equity out of their house. I don't know if you saw the slides earlier, but majority of homeowners across the United States are positive equity. Like we're not in a negative equity situation. So you just have to be the solution and say, hey, doing nothing isn't the option. Call me and we'll handle it. So a lot of times when you get behind on your mortgage, you can freeze, right? You don't know what to do. And you just tell them doing nothing is not an option. You let them know that you're the solution. And then a call to action on every piece that comes out. Call me, let's discuss your options so you make the best decision. Third, find a niche market. That is a niche market. Has anybody used Remine? It's a data provider on FMLS. Has anybody used that yet?
What is it called?
Remine, R-E-M-I-N-E.
I have.
All right, tell me about that, Janelle. There you are.
Yes, hi. I actually went on Remine and pulled down a list of the people in my neighborhood that have owned homes for longer than 12 years.
Okay.
12 to 15 years, and also are in the same mortgage or in a mortgage for 12 to 15 years. And I chose that time frame based upon a video that I saw on Remine, basically stating that those people would be more than likely ready to sell and
Right.
upgrade or downgrade depending upon where their situation was. And I did flyers and sent them out. And now I have to do the follow-up. And on the flyers, it stated that, I'm letting everyone know that I lived in their neighborhood. And this is the activity. So it showed 5 homes that sold and 1 was pending. And I asked them, do you know what your home is worth? That kind of thing. So now I just have to do the next step. I'm going to actually door knock all of those homes.
Okay, now this is a service that's free to us in FMLS. You just go to Remind, there's a link, and you can click now. Something that some top people that are having success with this are doing, they're identifying properties that are 10 years or longer, 2,000 square foot or larger, or a 2-story. These are people that need to either downsize, move into a ranch, or get closer to their family members because they're aging, right? They've been in their home over 10 years, their kids are probably out of school, and you need to connect with them on their challenges. Their challenges are decluttering, maybe an estate sale, having to downsize and get rid of all the things that they have. Maybe they need to know what to upgrade or fix in their house, what's gonna bring them the most value. Those are some of the communication ads that you send to them. How do I move without selling twice, right? How Jason said earlier, to be the solution. Do you have a buy with cash program? Can they get a bridge loan? Just start appealing to those concerns that they have around it. And you phone, text, video, mail, you do targeted ads to these people. You can also, does everybody have a system to identify the phone numbers of all these people?
No, I want to know that.
Okay, go ahead and switch to that. It's called binverified.com. Once you get the addresses and the names of the people, if you plug in their name from the tax record, or you can also plug in, I think, addresses sometimes, it will give you every phone number and email ever listed for these people. So it's a lot of work, but just say you did this for 10 homes and you send out 10 letters, you get one person to hit, it's worth the time. But this is working really well in a lot of states right now, and I think it's something that I'd like to see us incorporate. Melissa?
Is that a paid service, Ben Verified?
Ben Verified is a paid service. I think you get a free trial for 14 days. It's like $30 a month. It's cheap.
And another point, if you guys aren't familiar with Remind, FMLS offers a free class, and it's really an awesome class. I need to take it a second time because there's so much stuff there. Maybe we can.
Yeah, we can have them come to the office.
Yes.
Yeah, so these are different ideas. Like, we've got to start thinking out of the box, right? We have to show our worth and just be able to talk about these things. And when you're sending out videos to your sphere, these are the types of videos and things that you should be talking about, because you want to set yourself up as the expert, like the chief economist, why people need to choose you. Because what's happening in today's world is your friends and your sphere and your neighbors are buying houses from one another without you, because they can't. The message you have to get out to them is, are they making a confident, sound decision? You have to instill the fear of that in them so that they will call you and you be the resource, okay? Because it's easy to go buy homes right now without agents, but is it the best decision? Did they make the most money? Did they leave money on the table? If it's a buyer right now, would they have won that bid if they worked with you and your multiple offer strategies? Those are the messages that you have to get out, and I mean get it out. You should have Facebook ads, non-paid Facebook ads running all the time. You should have targeted Facebook ads running constantly. And just know that here's one of the main challenges that I see with realtors, right? Where's the money at? Can I hear that again? What do we not like to do the most? I mean, we have had it good, people. We have had it good. We have just been able to get leads, low-hanging fruit. But that market is not here. It is not this market. You need to have strategies, follow-up systems in place. You need to have your database dialed in. You need to have touches going out to your people, ads running consistently, and you need to have a good follow-up plan. Who thinks they have a good follow-up plan for incoming leads that they'd like to share? Okay, so are we seeing a challenge, right? Right, Kathy, do you have a few solutions?
Solutions are smart plans. Smart plans are your way to systematically touch every lead that comes in, and you can add a trigger. The minute you add a tag to a contact, it starts a smart plan. And really, nobody knows that you're not touching it for the next 90 days.
Okay. All right, the other thing real quick before we get into the listing presentation is something that Jason just talked on last hour. Expireds, they're really not there. This is not the market for expireds, but the market of the moment is for sale by owners. Why is that?
Because they know it'll sell.
Because they know it will sell, right? And it will sell. And you have to tell them, that. You are confident they are gonna sell it. But are they confident that they got the most amount of money for their house?
Strongest offer, the strongest buyer.
Right.
the strongest
So I
bidder.
have FISBO conversations that we have. I have objection handlers, and we can go through all this, but I want to say, one of the things that when you're calling the people is you don't want to argue with them because they think they know it all, right? You don't want to argue with them. They are right. They can sell their house, and you tell them that you're confident that can happen. But if they knew that they could sell their house for more money, even after your commission was paid, with less hassles, would they at least want to hear about what that option is? Is that worth 15 minutes of their time? Is that worth a Zoom call? Or let me sit down in your living room for 15 minutes? Here's something that we say to for sale by owners right now. You see, let me just kind of tell you a little bit about what's happening in the market right now. We have 40 offers on homes, buyers in the market left and right. And agents are really selective as to the buyers who they're working with today. Would you not agree? And so there's this whole pool of buyers, right, that agents aren't working with. And what are they doing? Where are they going to find homes? For sale by owners. Because they're not competitive buyers. So they're looking for inventory outside of the market because agents aren't working with them because they don't have cash and they're just not competitive enough. So what we see is they're preying on for sale by owners. And are you confident that that's the best offer for your house? Are you confident that they will get to the closing table? Do you think if you had that conversation on the phone with somebody, that might be worth 15 minutes of their time? Is anyone doing that? Okay, that should be happening. When you're talking to a for sale by owner, you always tell them, it's all about fear, unfortunately, and it is scary. So you ask questions around, how are you securing your property? How are you showing the property? How are you verifying the buying power? How did you verify that they have the income? How do you know you're getting the most for your house? Have you had multiple offers? How are you creating a multiple offer effect? Those are questions you should be asking them, which makes them think, hey, am I getting the most amount of money? They're trying to save. What is it? You ask them, are you paying a buyer fee? So you're paying 3% to a buyer, that's great. So your house you think is around 300,000. I'm happy to show you some data and what's happening in the market around you. So you're trying to save $9,000. So if I can show you how I can net you more money and save that $9,000 and handle the sale for you and get you to the closing table because I have a 100% closing ratio, would you agree to meet with me for 15 minutes? Can that get you more listings? Okay. What systems are you guys using to call for sale by owners? Mojo, Vulcan, RedX. I think you can go to some websites too. Just make sure it's not listed by owner brokerage.
What was that second one you said?
Mojo Dialer, Vulcan 7.
How do you spell it?
ULCAN.
Sorry.
What can cost more than most
We did have a question online that, how do they get a hold of the do not call lists?
Yeah, that should be in the systems. These paid systems have do not call scrubs in them. I know Vulcan 7 does. It scrubs for the do not call already. Yes.
I believe in not calling on the do not call list, but if it's a for sale by owner and they have their phone number listed on Zillow, why can't you call them?
You can.
You can.
You can. You can. You're calling to ask about the property. Talk about it. Find out. It's your job to know all the inventory, not just the inventory in the MLS. That is your job as a real estate agent. You're working with many buyers, and tell me about your property. And then as you're talking to them, just throw out some of those questions. We call it the problem presentation. Ask those questions that cause them to kind of pucker a little bit, you know? How are they securing their house? You know, they may be an elderly client and they're having random strangers coming to the house. Wow, that scares me, right? It really does. So those are the questions that you have. All right, anything else about, like, any questions that anybody has around how to go out and get the listings? Because we have to be really, really diligent. I will tell you, one of the things that I highly recommend is that you pick a theme for each day of the week around who you're supposed to be calling. And I find this mentally works well for me. I know Mondays is my past clients, Mondays and Tuesdays past clients. Maybe Wednesdays are gonna be your for sale by owner day. Jason Bond said Thursday was his luxury listings day. You're gonna call everybody over $700,000, right? Pick a theme for each day. So when you're not prospecting, you know what you were supposed to be doing. Today is my sphere. Today is my sphere. I didn't make any time. I didn't touch my sphere, right? It kind of motivates you to know what you are not doing. So give each day a theme around what you're supposed to, who you're supposed to be calling. Okay, listing presentation. Tell me some of y'all's challenges. I want to hear some challenges that you guys are having so I make sure that I'm relevant.
A lot of sellers are under the impression that it's easy because there's tons of buyers and I'm hearing there's multiple offers and blah, 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 blah. And so you get commission objections because they think it's so easy. And so one script I've started using is I say to them, you're right. The buyers are out there. It's not difficult to find a buyer. That's not where the challenges come in. The challenges are getting it from contract to close and knowing what has a greater likelihood of closing. Because they just see what's going on at their neighbor's house and there's 400 cars pulling up, you know, all weekend long. So they think, oh, it must be so easy.
So are you telling stories? Like, are you using examples of what you're seeing out there? That's great. Like, you definitely should be using examples of what we're seeing in our industry because they only see the one side that we put out there. They're not seeing what we see every single day. And if you've been in the business for a long time, have you ever seen anything like this? Beverly, where are you at? Have you ever seen a market like this? She's not there. There she is.
Never. I'm waiting for it to go away.
All right, tell us a little bit, tell everybody here a little bit about you, Beverly. How long you've been in the business?
Actually, I've been in the business 36 years.
All right.
But you know, I've been in different markets, and this has been one of the most challenging. Well, I won't say 2008 was pretty challenging,
Right.
but it's just hard to get people to move forward.
Yes. Yep, it is. And they're scared, and it's still a lot with COVID. You know, we're not gonna see inventory increase, you guys, until well past spring of next year. Like, it's gonna take a while to recap this, and we're not even sure if it's gonna happen then, but we're not gonna see a surge of homes anytime soon. We're probably gonna find the most amount of homes available coming up over the next couple of months. Because, you know, everybody gets back from spring break, right? And they wanna put homes on the market. Are you guys listing more homes right now? Yeah. But how do you be really intentional with it? That's what we wanna talk about.
Don't you think, Dominai, that it's not just about money for many of the sellers and having that conversation, like you always say, ask the next question, what's really important to you? Okay, so other than price, what's the most important thing
Absolutely.
about listing your home? Is there fear? Is there, because that's what I think a lot of people see in the market now is the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
And
Fear
us
of the
being the
unknown.
realtor has to answer that.
You have to show your mission and your value. Does everybody have a mission statement here? Does anybody want to share their mission statement for yourself, your team? Does anybody want to share it? Go ahead, Sandy.
Ours is to have confidence and competent in what we do, treat our clients like family, and to always be honest and transparent.
Awesome. And you get that message out to your clients, right? You got to share your value proposition. We call it your unique value proposition. Why does someone want to hire you when there's more agents in the market right now than there are listings? That's the honest truth. And they're coming in droves. Stephanie.
I just want to give an example of one of my girlfriends. She tried to do for sale by owner because she thought she could make more money by saving up commission and everything. And she comes back to me a few days later and she's like, I have gotten so many calls, so many like verbal offers. I don't know what to do. I'm so overwhelmed. And that's what's happening. You know, you're getting 20, 30 offers in. You don't have the process as an individual. That doesn't know how to negotiate and organize everything versus the offer.
Right. And that's what you're going to tell them. Can you put my screen up? That's what you're going to show them when you get out there. So now you're out there, you're at the listing appointment. And what I'm going to tell you guys is don't worry so much about the CMA. I can't believe I'm saying this because that is the first time in 20 years that I said, don't worry about the CMA. But what you do want to say when you get out there, you want to ask questions, what's most important to them. You want to then talk about why you. Like you first want to find out their motivation to sell, and you should find this out before you go with a list of questions ahead of time. But you need to find out what's their motivation to sell on a scale of 0 to 10. How motivated are they to sell? They say a 7. What makes it a 7? What would make it a 10? Because you want your motivation. I want my motivation to match yours. And see, I only know a 10. That's where I am. I'm the driver. My motivation is always a 10. But if you're at a 7, I can get you to me so that I'm serving you well. Because I have a hard time. I have a difficult time going down to a 7. Like that's a challenge for me. So like how motivated on a scale of 1 to 10 are you to sell? Well, I'm not going to give my house away, or you hear, right, all the things that we hear, but you write it down. What happens if moving? What is that going to do for you? How is this going to impact your family? What would that mean for you? Like you dive into the motivation, and that's where you get the conversation, and then that's where you know to lead your presentation. But finding out motivation is always number 1. And then I ask a question other than determining the price. Are you comfortable and confident that I can sell your house? And I'll do that usually before I get into my presentation, because sometimes they're a referral, but I need to know that question. Asking that question lets me decide if I need to go through all this rigmarole or if I just need to get into the paperwork, because the price is the price. We're going to determine that. The market determines that. We'll determine how to best strategize there. But other than the price, are you comfortable and confident I can sell your house? And that's where I'll get the, well, I'm not sure, tell me a little bit more. And then that's when you go into your presentation. But if they say, yes, I'm 100% confident, don't go through it. Like just get it signed, right? Does that make sense to everybody? Like don't say anything that's gonna mess it up. Right? So that's
it up, by the way.
Yeah, so that's my second question. On a scale of 1, tonight we're going to talk about your motivation, and I want my motivation to match yours. And I'm going to be as motivated as you are, right? So that kind of leads them to think they're not going to then say a 5 or a 6. They're going to say an 8, right? Because I'm going to be as motivated as you are. So you tell me, like, how motivated are you to sell your house? That's question 1. After you get through and digging, so that you can find that motivating factor that you're going to tie all your closes in with. Then I go on to question 2, which I just stated. And then question 3 is, great. Then my job tonight is to make you feel comfortable and confident that I'm the best choice to sell your house. And then we're gonna agree tonight whether or not we work together. Does that sound fair? And in this market, you should be saying that. We're gonna agree tonight if this is a good fit. If you're a good fit for me and I'm a good fit for you. Because you may ask me to do some crazy marketing that isn't gonna work, or you may ask me to cut my commission and that's not gonna happen. So we need to mutually decide if we're a good fit together. And so then I go through my presentation. So my first job tonight is gonna be to educate you on what's going on in the market. And we can sit here for hours and still not even get to the point, but I'm gonna bring up some things that we have. So this is an example of something that I send out to my clients before I go. You know, I haven't been on a listing appointment in a little bit. So this is something that we did. It's 3 pages. You can make it an ebook. I created this in Designs in Command. You can also create something similar like this in Canva here outside our company. But here I have my mission statement on the first page. This is a 3-page. This is what we are here about, and that it's truly that our clients are the heartbeat of our business. Been doing this for 20 years, and we know that our business is built on referrals. And in order to provide, you know, in order to receive your referrals, we know that we need to provide outstanding service and customer expertise. Otherwise, we're not going to receive your referrals, and we don't believe that we've earned them. So we talk about that. Our promise, we go through that. So basically I'm letting them know, like, here's our motto, and these are the things that I'm gonna tie our closes into with this. And I'm happy to share this with anybody. You guys don't have to worry about taking pictures. I'll share this with anybody outside the company as well. The second page too, because I feel it used to be really long and, you know, everybody's, you know, just want them to read it. So over here on the left side, we have a just listed campaign, an open house campaign. We're going to talk about a broker-to-broker campaign, a targeted social media campaign, and our multiple offer strategies. Right? This is showing our value right here, and those are the things that we're going to talk about. We talk about our team, the operations team that we have. If you want to put your partners, strategic partners on here, if you want to put your attorney and your lender, you can do that. On the right side, now this was our stats through last year, but we need to update it for first quarter, right? Because things have changed. Like the average sales price for our team was $359. Last year at the end of the market, when it was at $310, so we were 16% higher than we outpaced the market by 16%. All right, these are numbers that your clients want to know. Days on market at the end of last year, ours was 21. No, ours was what? Days on market, 21, 50, 53 was last year. 21 was ours. We were 55% faster than the market. And the list price to sales price in Gwinnett was 97.6. Ours was 99.7. So we were 2.1% higher from list rate to closed rate. So those are numbers you want to share. Yes.
So if you don't have a team where you're fairly new agent, what?
Use our market center sets. And I'm gonna, yeah, and we can get you those. Because we're your team, right? Who do y'all call when you have questions? Right? So I know it. So anyway, we're happy to share all those stats with you. Anyway, these are numbers that we kind of go over. And so I'm telling them, listen, I'm not telling you this just because I'm trying to brag. What I'm trying to show is our value, why you hire us, right? And this is why it's important to price right now. Right now, what's interesting, when we did this, what was the list price to sales price ratio for homes in Gwinnett right now? Over 100%. Over 100%. Okay, go to the next slide. I think that's just some things that I put on here. Hey guys, we're in the largest real estate company in the Southeast. We have 12 offices, our franchise. So if people say, hey, you know, I live in Cumming, that's okay. We got an office in Cumming. Not that it matters, but to some people it really does, right? We have 12 offices. We tell them where our main office is. Our team's part of Keller Williams Luxury, and then we just got our stuff right there. That's about it. That's it. We don't go through much more. But when I go in the listing appointment, you can bring your laptop. You can bring up info. Bring your laptop, and solds are great. Hey, we'll look at them real quick, but it doesn't really matter. Actives, right? There aren't any. So what do we do? What do we look at? Pendings. Pendings is what you need to focus on. But before I get into that, I go into Info Sparks in FMLS. And what we pulled up here, if you can move them to, yes, you move them up top. Yes. Or maybe just minimize it. There we go. And we might need it at the bottom. Yeah, just do that. Okay. Did everybody online see this? I see we got some chat. Is there anything that we need to answer before moving on? Okay, you're sharing screen. Okay. All right, so this right now, you up in the top left corner, you can plug in the county, the neighborhood, the city, but I usually start a little broad and I show them if their house is in Gwinnett County. All right, I'm going to show you what's happening in the county so that you can see how your home compares. And so we're just going to show them Gwinnett County. We're going to start down and then I go back a year and we do it on a month-to-month basis, these little lines right here. Right down here. Yep, there we go. A year and monthly. So this is the average sales price, tab number 1. So if we go ahead and click on the blue line above. All right, February of last year, the average sales price was $258. Okay, go up here, $313. If you're a seller, would you like to see that you're selling higher than last year? Okay, I think so. Go to new listings. We're just going to go to January of last year. January of last year, Gwinnett County had 1,409 homes for sale. We're at 1,498 in March. Well, go down a little bit to January. Yeah, go the next one over. One more. All right. Well, can we go up a little? There it is. Okay, 1,062. All right, so that is telling me something right here. Go up here to March, 1,498. All right, we're going up. Right? Are you seeing it contract a little bit? This is why. So you can show somebody, hey, go to February. We had 1,068. Now we have 1,498 in the county. Like it's time, right?
Create a little.
So this creates urgency. Those are new listings. Go to homes for sale. All right, let's go to January of last year. There was 27 homes for sale. Right now, there's 1,006 homes for sale. So it's still better than last year. Pendings, this is just what I go through to educate them. What is this making me look like? So don't worry about doing that CMA. Just bring your laptop and do this at the table. Don't be afraid to say, you want me to come out? I'll be there in an hour. Just don't worry about preparing and just do this. Okay, this speaks much louder anyway. All right, pending sales. These are under contract. January of last year, we had 1,100. Where are we at now? 1,282. So the inventory is down, but we have more buyers under contract. That's amazing. Days on market.
You want closed it all?
Sure, do close. All right, 862 closed last year, 1241. I mean, we are closing more homes with less inventory. It's amazing. That means the days on market, that's the difference right there. Go to days on market, look at that, 6 days. So when they tell you I don't want people traipsing through my house, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Why do you need Zillow and OfferPad to buy your house? Come on, right? So this is important, right?
One day.
All right, so if you can scroll down, there's also a shows to pending. I like to use this one. It speaks to showing time. and it tells people, okay, there were 14 showings before somebody went under contract in Gwinnett County. So when they're calling you, it eliminates the phone calls. Why is my house not sold? Well, on average, you're gonna get about 14 showings before you go under contract. That's average. Go ahead and do it now. 31. What does that tell you? More people coming through your house. Not any longer days, actually shorter days. More people coming through your house at one time that made an appointment, right? So how do you help them with that? Now they're stressed. Now they're stressed, thinking 31 people are gonna come through. Don't worry about it, because if you went back to that other side, I had an open house strategy, right? And I'm gonna talk to you about that. How we just have you leave for a couple of days, or a couple hours each day, and we manage the showings, and we have 2 people at your house holding it open. We have 1 person inside and 1 person at the door. Everybody's logging in on our landing page that we created, signing in, because the sellers want to know who's entering their home, especially during COVID. If something was to come up, we want to be able to contact everybody, right? Everybody that walks into your seller's house, you should have their information. It's what we do as an agent. We protect them.
Where did you create that landing page?
Oh, well, that's something that Kathy can talk about in command. Create a landing page for each property. That way you advertise it, you put it in your Facebook ad. You can text it to people, you post it online, and whenever they register, they go straight into your database. And then you set them up on a smart plan to follow up. And it reminds you when to call them. Follow up, people, follow up. Okay, that's very important. So now if you wanna, we're gonna take it down to your neighborhood. So somebody pick a neighborhood around town in Gwinnett County that you wanna look at.
Hamilton Mill.
What one? Hamilton Mill? Okay, can you go up to change the county and change that to Hamilton Mill?
We didn't rehearse this.
That's okay. We're winging it here. All right, Hamilton Mill. And we're gonna do residential detached. Yeah, click subdivision first and then. I don't see that it's in there.
It's in the, I think
Is
it's.
it?
It is in
great.
there.
It is, okay, you can X out.
Be grayed out, but.
Residential detached, and it might go with.
Okay, very good. Okay, now let's do residential detached. And what part of Hamilton Mill? I mean, there's a lot of sections. What price range do you, already kind of like what the price range is? So are we gonna look
Do 2,000 square.
3,000?
4,000 square feet.
All right, so let's,
2,000.
all right, we're gonna do, in what year? You can do the number of bedrooms, so do 2,500 square feet or more, 4 bedrooms or more. Like you can make it specific to what they have. 2010 and later.
Do 2,000 to 2009.
All right, do that one. Okay, and then we're gonna do 350 to 600. We'll just click that for the sake of being easy. So here is Hamilton Mill since January of 2020. Okay,
You can see what sales price is.
so that's sales price,
New listings.
new listings, homes for sale.
Coming back up.
Yep, pendings, and you can just scroll through here. You can talk about all of this though while you're out there. Is this helpful?
Yeah, very.
It tells a story without you having to tell the story and go through the little CMA and how does this home compare to yours? This is real data, it's live data, it's coming straight from the MLS. And it tells a story. So educate your clients. All right, so then we talk about all the different strategies that we have. A just listed strategy, what we're gonna do when we list your property. Here are all the things that we're gonna do.
Somebody did ask, how do we address the concerns of a seller because they have to buy?
That's,
So talking about the tools in your toolbox, is everybody certified with Homeward? Keller Offers, Ribbon, there's lots outside of our company. There are other companies that you could do. Outside of our company, you can do Homeward. Keller Offers is another one. when you're having consultations with your buyers, you should be telling them about other options that are available. Doesn't mean they need to use them. It means they need to get qualified for them, because as their professional agent, they may be wanting to do a conventional loan, but they still should be approved through Homeward to buy as all cash. Should they find the house of their dreams and they absolutely loved it, and there were 77 offers on it. True story, just happened earlier this morning, 77 offers. As their agent, I just want to make all the tools that we have available to you so you can make a good decision. If you were able to buy a house as cash, that would have been probably one of 4 or 5 of those offers, again, instead of the 1 in 77. So if you're not certified at Keller Offers or Homeward or Ribbon or, you know, what are the other services that there are out there, please do that. And you get your clients in there now, because guess what? Across the country, they're behind. Across the country, people are doing this, but even though Homeward's only in 4 states, they're behind because the buyers are using this at such a high level in other states. So you need to get your buyer qualified sooner. Maybe if they have a house to sell, maybe they can do a bridge loan.
If that's not an issue and it's just a concern that they're not going to be able to find something that they want out there,
Yeah.
how do you navigate that with?
That's a great question. So, and those are the objections that are coming out when you're at the listing table, right? So give me all those objections. I'm gonna help you overcome them. So some of the concerns, and also even if you don't have a house to sell, Homeward will let you buy as all cash, even if you don't have a home to sell. So how do I overcome the objections when somebody says, I have a house, I don't know that I'm gonna find something? I know from all of you, we've talked. Allison, what are some tips that we shared?
Well, I had several different applicants and I do it.
Okay.
Figure out how much equity they have in the house, the bridge money, it's expensive. And then we have gotten certified with Ribbon and Award. And sorry, I'm not feeling really good today.
That's okay.
Is that kind of
That's good, yes.
Everyone to go?
What are some options that you've given to your sellers? Yes,
I have said I have access to off-market sales.
you have access to off-market sales. And what's it gonna do when they hire you? It's gonna put you to work,
Yes, pretty much.
right? And so you do the circle prospecting, you tell them what you do every day, from 9 to 11, every day you're on the phone looking for homes for your sellers, for your buyer clients. Christine?
Well, there's situations you can tell that, but when the office, buyers are letting sellers stay in the homes after closing while they find theirs, or.
Right, so there's 2 options. You can let them stay in the house for up to 2 months after the sale. Tina?
And we've customized our database to single out, so we know who the buyers are, and people who are wanting to buy in the future. So we're looking at a lot more matching people up.
Buyer matching, yep, matchmakers. So those posts that you'd be doing, get on match.com, matchmaking. What else, Stacy?
Well, just some people actually don't think about it or don't realize that they have somewhere to go.
Yep.
They have a vacation home. They have a friend or family they can live with, and it just may be worth the money to suck it up for a couple of months and find what you want.
If we created a buying war, what price would you need to get in order to make it worth your while that you might go find an Airbnb? Or, so those are questions that you should ask, but something that we've used for a while is a reverse contingency for a seller. You can give a seller in a contract, our team just did this last month, where the seller didn't identify a property, but they wrote a contingency where they had 14 days to identify another property to go under contract with, and they needed to provide notice to the buyer that they found a house. Otherwise, if the 14 days passed, that contingency was null and void. But during that 14 days, the seller had the ability to cancel the contract if they couldn't find and identify another property to go under contract. So that helped us get a listing in that regard. And at that same time, we put that the buyer's financing and appraisal and due diligence period began once they received notice from the seller that they were removing that contingency. And is anybody having questions on that? I know, I see some faces.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Like, you know how, like, you give a contingency for your seller to find something. And so your job as their agent is to make them the main priority, and you're gonna find them a house. And hopefully, when they hired you, you already started looking and calling and circle prospecting in communities that they wanted. Like, they have to help you. You need to identify, you need to know exactly what you're looking for in the communities that you want to be in. And we're going to start door knocking and ringing. But that's what you're going to get when you hire me. That's why you hire me. That's why you pay me 6, 7, or 8% commission. Okay, so when you're having these conversations, when you're overcoming their objections, I promise you're going to have very little commission objections. What else are we hearing at the listing presentation? Anything else?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So you said the buyer's financing and appraisal doesn't start
Until the seller removes their contingency.
Okay.
Because otherwise, it's not right. Right? You're making them pay for an appraisal and a home inspection. Or I've also seen where if the seller does cancel, that they would reimburse the buyer for the cost of the home inspection and the appraisal. That way they kept it moving along.
It's gotta be a win-win.
Yeah, it's gotta be a win for each side, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Another objection at the listing table or listing appointment table. So if I sell at the height of the market, then that means I'm buying at the height of the market too, price wise.
So, I mean, have you seen the graph? Are we really at the height? Like, are we? Like, we saw the graphs earlier.
We're still under 4%.
We're still under 4% interest rate. The bigger, you know what I hear you say is that you don't want to pay too much. You don't want to pay too much for a house. My real concern for you is that if the interest rates go up 0.5% or 1%, based on, and take this slide from Keeping Current Matters, I have it with me. You know the price of their house. If the interest rates go up 0.5% or 1%, what it costs them over 30 years for the life of the loan is between $30,000 and $50,000, depending on the price of the house. So that, Mr. Seller, is honestly more of the concern for me than if you were to sell at the, or buy at the height. However, just showing them these graphs, you're not at the height of the market, right? And you could show the other graphs from earlier today, how we're not at the height. We are not at the top of the market. We're not going to see that until there is a surplus of inventory. Surplus, 7 months or more of inventory. How many months of inventory do we have right now? 0.6. That's a that's a half a month of inventory. So we got a long ways to go. I feel their pain. I repeat their concern and validate it, and then take them to a better place, which is scaring them about the interest rates. Because let's be honest, how is the Fed going to control this? What's one way? They're already doing that with the second home market. You guys heard about that, how they're regulating second home purchases because they want homeowners to get the current inventory. Another way to regulate it is to raise the interest rates. So we'll probably see that happen. Okay, so going through everything, telling them what we do, telling them what our negotiating power, something, say somebody is still like, they're doing the figures. I had one guy pull out his calculator, right? And start adding up what he was gonna pay in the commission right there in front of me, just adding it up. And I could just see his face pucker, right? So, and it was us against a discount broker. And, you know, they were paying less, like 4%, or the person was going to do it for 1% or whatever. And so when I go to the listing appointments, I usually just have a package, just a little thing. I've got some information about the team, you know, that we do a 210 home warranty on the house, just some little packets, not a lot. But what I do have is a copy of the seller brokerage agreement, the seller's property disclosure, and the community disclosure. And I asked them and they're like, well, so-and-so is gonna do it for 5% or 4%. And it's like, so what I'm hearing you saying is that netting the most amount of money is really what's most important to you, isn't that right? And they're like, so I take it off of the fee and can I confirm it? And I said, I hear you. And what I hear you saying is that netting the most amount of money is most important to you. So if they're gonna charge 4%, I'm gonna write down and I'm charging 6%. You know, and the house was, I don't know, 200,000, let's just say for easy simpleness. So we're talking about $4,000. So I write that number down, $4,000. We're really talking about $4,000 here, right? Like I get the number that we're different. And so I say, I'm gonna give you 2 standard forms that you will sign with no matter what real estate agent that you use in Georgia. You have to fill out a seller's property disclosure and you're in an HOA, so you have to fill out a community disclosure. And I'd like to give these to you to fill out. And I'm not gonna advise you, because if you were to choose the other agent, you're not gonna be able to get them on the phone anyway, so you wouldn't get any advice because you have to pay for that. That's the difference. So go ahead and fill out these 2 forms as though I wasn't sitting here with no advice. And I'm just gonna go ahead and start filling out the listing paperwork with all your information. Because I'm assuming the sale, right? Filling it out, talking to them, they're looking at it, filling this out, they're perplexed. They don't know what something is, they don't know what polybutylene piping is, they don't know what this is. I'm not answering any questions. And so then they fill it out. And I said, okay, let's go through the seller's property disclosure. Okay, page 1. All right, looking at page 2. All right, termites. Oh, you don't have a termite bond? Highlight that, okay. Okay. Gutter, roof, your roof is, 20 years old. Highlight that, okay. Termite bond, right, so I'm highlighting all these fields. Okay, what else? All right. They have no insurance claims on the property. I'm gonna highlight that. Okay. Look through all the items that they didn't check, right? Oh, they checked the refrigerator staying, the washer, the dryer, highlighting all that, right? Then I move on to the CAD. They don't know any of these answers, right? So I'm highlighting things that they left blank. Are you guys seeing where I'm going to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is just 2 forms. So they send it back to me after I've highlighted all my little areas that I know that we deal with every single day where we save our clients money, right? And I'm adding it up, just adding it up. And now the $4,000 is like $6,000 when I look at this. And I tell them this is just 2 forms. When you hire me, I'll go through the entire purchase and sale agreement and I'll have plenty of other areas where I can show you the value. And that's not even my negotiating skills. That's just my expertise. Does everybody understand that? Like, just take these 2 forms. You will never, ever get somebody complaining about your commission. In fact, that's what I roll out. So you'll see on the purchase and sale or on the listing agreement, 6, 7, or 8% commission that you'll be paying. You choose, which one do you want? Most of the time they'll choose 7 or 8. Rarely do people choose the 6. That's a whole nother class. Okay. All right, so
Next
does everybody understand what I'm talking about here? How you're saving them money? How can you save somebody money on the CAD if they have no guidance or expertise? Where do we see that?
The section where you talk about the amount of the transfer fees and the initiation fees.
Right, all the fees the seller has to pay if they didn't disclose.
Yeah, so because if they don't fill it out, you will automatically.
Right, you can also select that, highlight the transfer fee, because in your negotiating, you're going to write that the buyer will pay all transfer fees, right? Sometimes that's $250. You can do that. On the seller disclosure, they don't have a termite bond. What do we have? Who does free termite bonds in our office? That's right. You just saved them $799.
You have free termite bond? How are you monetizing their age group as a cost?
So age roof, we have vendors in our office, right, who will do a free roof inspection, right? Yes.
Who does that free termite bond?
Gilstrap. They're a preferred vendor in our office. We also have roofers in our office that will go out and do a free roof inspection. For every listing that you take, I don't care if the roof is a year old, you should be sending one of our roof vendors out to look at the roof. You want to know before you start negotiating the house, is there Atlas Shelley shingles? Or is there damage? Because it's going to come up. And your job is to prevent those things. So you tell them how you're going to help them with that. Yes.
So I'm assuming you highlight the lack of insurance claims because maybe they just don't know.
Yes.
So you ask Alex or someone to look up.
To do a clue report. So you highlight 0 claims. So then you ask some questions. Had you ever called your homeowner's insurance company before and filed something that wasn't paid on? Because if so, that's a claim. So now you're not being honest here, and that would give a buyer an out. Right?
So that's called a clue report.
Clue report. We have our vendors do a clue report on every property before we go under contract in case you don't know something that is on your homeowner's insurance policy that you weren't aware of, because we don't want the buyer to have an exit clause.
We had a question, these vendors do not charge question mark?
No, free.
Who is the insurance person?
Gable Insurance. Those are just little ways. What do we use the refrigerator, washer, and dryer for?
Negotiation.
Right. We want the buyer to feel like they're getting something in today's market. Now, something to remember, if it's not checked here, and that's another thing, if they don't check certain things, then you got to ask them, are you moving this? Are you taking this with you? Oh, you didn't check the landscape lighting. Are you taking that with you? Oh, you didn't check the cable jacks. Are you taking those with you? Because I'm going to highlight all these things that you need to move with you. Because if you don't, you're in violation of the contract. So these are all things that you're putting in their head, and they're like, oh my gosh, right? Are you scared? It would scare me. So that's showing your value, you guys. And why they need to use you. Okay, so we determined the price, they're motivated to sell. How do you ask for the close? What are some of the closes, you guys? How do you ask for the sale?
So do you want to list this week or next?
Okay, you want to list this week or next?
We should reschedule pictures.
Put me to work for you now.
How soon can I get the photographer in?
How soon can I what? Get the photographer in. Very good. So it's what I said made sense. Do you feel comfortable and confident I can sell your house? Put me to work for you now. Sign here. I need a key. That's really it. Any questions? I think, are we over? Are we good on time?
No, we're over.
Okay, all right.
Just the things you said you would share, have the
listing.
couple of things, the listing things.
Yeah.
How do we get our hands on that?
Kathy's got everybody who logged in is going to get that. She's gonna send it after this. You all registered for the class. If anybody showed up and wasn't registered, please get with Kathy. But anything else here? Was this helpful?
Yes.
Woo! All right. Awesome. Any other questions online? No, that was it. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so-